Welcome back to Classic Firearms. I'm Brandon, and in this nameless box is an American Tactical ATI Alpha Maxx 5.56 NATO AR-15. It is a 16-inch barreled AR-15 that houses both or all three of carbon fiber, steel, and polymer parts to make up this entire AR-15. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. And now that the lights are out and the colors have changed, let's talk about what this particular AR-15 has to offer, starting with the tip. Right up front here, you can see that we do have a 16-inch barrel. There is a 13-inch handguard, but at very front, you have a birdcage style A2 flash hider. Beyond that, you have your flip-up front sights, and those come right in the box. That 13-inch handguard does have a nice place for you to get that seat clamp, knowledge transfer, on, and you have some M-lock at the front as well. So this is a polymer handguard as well as most of this rifle. Now, what makes it very interesting is both the upper and the lower, while they are polymer on the outsides, they have patented pieces in here that actually are steel reinforced. They also have a patent for their trigger pin retainment system that basically prevents movement of that hammer while firing. And finally, they also have a patent on the buffer tube system that they have here. It's an over-molded metal buffer tube system which allows metal-to-metal contact and reinforces the buffer tube and the takedown pins, overall giving the firearm much more rigidity than you may have seen in the past. So, with that being said, let's talk about some of the more quirks and features, so to speak, of this particular firearm. On the bottom of your handguard here, you are going to have a QD sling mount right in the bottom portion. Let me see if I can get you a really good, there we go, that's a really good view of that. And that's just a very nice place to have that. Now, you also get a standard capacity magazine from AR-15, which you would expect, as well as a slight flare on this mag well. Of course, that is going to make it nice and easy whenever you're going to insert that mag. If you miss just slightly, it's going to guide you into place, which is always nice. Now, you also have a right-hand side mag release, so as you would expect, kind of mil-spec there. You also have a mil-spec bolt release, which is exactly as you would expect. Of course, you press the button and boom. You also have a mil-spec left-hand side safety, so that safety is going to be on that left side, just like so. Now, that charging handle is also going to be made out of metal and is mil-spec, so left-hand pull on that particular charging handle. Now let's head down just a little bit on the firearm down to that trigger guard. The trigger guard itself is going to be polymer as well as that trigger, but let's talk about how it feels to pull it. So we do clear every weapon before we ever get on camera, just to show you we are clear and good to go. So that trigger pull is going to be as follows. You have a good pull, a little bit of grit, but good pull overall, and then bang. So it is very predictable where that's going to be. It's almost at that 90 kind of breaking point there, which is quite nice. There's not much movement on that trigger at all. So as you can see, this is all the movement on the trigger. Like, that's all it's got. So now let's see that reset. The reset is going to be a little bit of movement and kicks right out and then back into that pull. Overall, it's going to be very easy to put a bunch of rounds down range with that trigger. Grip on this is going to be an A2 style grip, which means you have a decently, moderately aggressively textured side, and you have a more horizontal texture on the back, as well as a finger groove to help hold you in place. Basically, whenever you're at the range, you're not really going to lose your grip on this firearm is what it goes towards. As we fall back on the firearm just a little bit farther, you can see that you do have some metal on the buffer tube. Again, that's overmolded metal on the buffer tube, as well as your castle nut is made out of metal and your backplate here. So overall, a good design from ATI. Now on to the final piece here, that stock. The stock is reminiscent of an A2 style stock, but it is made by American Tactical, as it does have their branding on it. That stock itself is adjustable to wherever you want, which is quite nice. You also have a QD sling mount and a more traditional sling mount on the back, so you're going to be able to do it either way, but that does coincide with the front one, so you can have a QD, 2-point QD sling mount if that's what you want. You're also going to get, on the back, some grooves that will help it kind of sit in place on your shoulder very nicely. So no matter what, when you put a couple rounds down range, it's not going to move as easily. So in review, in case you did miss something, the ATI is going to have a patented upper and lower receiver with carbon fiber, steel, and polymer parts. You have a 13-inch handguard, a 16-inch barrel with an A2 flash hider up front, Both front and rear sights come in the box, as well as a standard capacity magazine. You are going to get an American Tactical stock as well. That does have 2 QD sling points on the gun, so you can run a 2-point sling if you wish. Not to mention your overall length of the rifle is 40 inches and the rifle itself is 5.5 pounds. AR-15 at 5.5 pounds is very, very light. So with that being said, if you have any experiences with an American Tactical Alpha Max, please leave a review down below. We would love to see your comments. I'll be down there answering your questions as they pop up as well. I'd love to see you there. So that's all I have for you today. God bless. Stay safe. It is time to end. Now, let's go shoot.